We're recording. All right, welcome back, everyone. And this is a special episode because this is actually our 10th episode. So welcome back to our 10th episode of our Triangle Splash podcast. So let's kick it off right away. NBA is back, and we got a week and a bit to look at everyone post All-Star break. So let's kick it off with Brian.
Okay, so my topic this week is the MUP player so far of 2021. So MUP stands for most either underappreciated or underrated player of 2021 in fantasy. 咁我揀呢個人咧，佢係一個 veteran 嚟嘅 ，OK。咁佢今年嘅 stats 咧可以話係非常之好嘅。佢今年嘅 assist 啦，3-point percentage 同埋 free throw percentage is his highest since 2016. So he's averaging 8.8 assists per game, shooting 39% from 3-point field and 94% from the free throw line. 咁呢個人係好有 leadership 啦、consistency 同埋 toughness. However, 今年 he's already on his fourth team in 5 years. So this player is from the Phoenix Suns, the point guard Chris Paul. 咁 basically 我覺得點解佢咁 unappreciated 因為我 obviously 佢所講嘅就係佢今年 fourth team in 5 years 咯。咁因為佢個 contract 嘅問題就係俾人 trade 嘛。咁但係我覺得今年佢 lead 到 Suns 去 to a second seed in the Western Conference is incredible. Because last year the Suns missed the playoffs, but they essentially came back with the same team plus Chris Paul. So I think he's making a huge difference for this Phoenix Suns team, but quite underappreciated because he's kind of being thrown around. So he's my MUP player of 2021.
I think in not in fantasy term, but just in general in real life basketball, Chris Paul has been defying the age, defying everything. Like people think he's just gonna go into retirement after OKC. He was I think OKC wasn't happy when they got Chris Paul because Chris Paul was actually helping them win games.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
And then secondly, Phoenix Sun is on an up and riser after the bubble. Whatever happened in the Sun in the bubble, but then they signed him for his leadership. They signed him, but then they didn't know they're signing a Chris Paul that turned back to when he was 25.
Yeah.
And at this stage of his age,
yeah.
he's still playing at an extremely high efficient pace.
He's 36. Sounds sorry.
Yeah, he's reminding me of one of the all-time great and my all-time favorite ball player in the entire planet.
Andre Miller.
No.
Grant Hill.
No. I'm not way back. It's our Canadian boy.
Oh.
Two-time MVP.
Steve Nash.
Who got robbed of a championship because of Tony Parker knocking his nose off. Playing like a hockey player. Steve Nash. But yeah, he's performing like crazy. What do you think, Angus?
I think the Phoenix Suns, their pace fits him really well. Like he's for sure not athletic, and I don't think like the whole Phoenix Suns team is like crazy athletic either. And like he's already known as like a really very well paced point guard, so everything fits in with him really well. And I can't complain. I have Chris Paul, and I'm happy with what he does.
Yeah. So 佢除咗係一個 real life good NBA player 之外 ，obviously 佢今年 fantasy stats 都非常之好。頭先我 mention 你嘅 assist、3-point percentage 同 free throw 都係 career highest since 2016. So
yep. That's just insane. But he's always been one of my favorite point guard as well. But he's also very underappreciated in real life as well. Yeah, but he's supposedly, he's not a really well liked person in the locker room. People think he played too much politics.
Well, he is a voice in the Players Association as well. So
yeah,
Players Association.
You get the brains.
What do you got, Angus?
Who you got, Ang?
All right. This guy is mentioned before in our podcast, but I think something happened recently, like a topic that came up recently. So I think I want to bring to light why this guy is so important. From the Philadelphia 76ers, Tobias Harris. So I think he was an all-star recently. Not this year, in recent years. Or maybe he was at least in consideration, but not even in consideration this year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like he's like stand out in terms of stats. Just 20 points, 7.5 rebounds. He's almost at one and one steals and blocks. But low key, he's in the 50, 40, 90 club. 52% field goal percentage, 41% three-pointer. He's at 89% free throw, but we can round it up. Currently, he's the 20th ranked player of the season. So this guy, obviously, he's not carrying the full load because Joel Embiid is basically carrying the Philadelphia 76ers. But I would say that without Tobias Harris, they're not as good as they are. And I guess you can say that he's the third option just because Ben Simmons, does a lot of the ball handling. But if even as a third option, he's pretty consistent. So the reason why I brought this up, and I think like this was perfect for the conversation of underappreciated, is that recently, I think when the 76ers were playing against the Wizards, the commentators brought up the topic that Ben Simmons is the most overrated player in the NBA. So this is not necessarily about Ben Simmons, but in my head, I'm thinking people are probably thinking when it comes to 76ers, it's Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. But what they don't realize is that the 76ers, they have this, super consistent shooter and a scorer in Tobias Harris, but he just doesn't put up like huge poster board stats. He doesn't posterize people. So maybe like, casuals don't even know like they got like a 20-7 player on their team.
Yeah. No. Totally agree. 你話如果唔係 Tobias Harris 嘅話，我諗 Ben Simmons 啲 numbers 唔會咁好咯。I would personally say Tobias Harris deserves to be an all-star over Ben Simmons this year.
Wow.
Yeah. 因為佢哋唔可以有3個 all-star 我覺得 from one team. So if they had to pick 2, I guess they went with Simmons and Embiid, but I would have went with Embiid and Harris.
Interesting. I think he actually provides a lot of value. Tobias Harris, he shoots like at an extremely high percentage, and then he doesn't do layup and dunks. He does like mid-range and threes, and it's pretty amazing how efficient he shoots and how high of a percentage he shoots. As well as he gives you threes, rebounds, and blocks, and a low turnover guy. So he's pretty much all over across the board player. In terms of real life, he hit like game winners. He's been like hitting like game tying shots, and he's you would never expect him. Like I think everybody was sleeping on him too, because not sleeping on him. Everybody wasn't expecting him to have consistently have such a productive season because of how loaded Philly 76ers are. So it's actually quite amazing how efficient Tobias Harris is. He doesn't get too many touches too, considering he's the third options. Yeah.
And to show like just how underrated this guy is, in our fantasy league, he was drafted in the 6th round.
You gotta
steal.
And we all know who drafted him.
He was in a hurry to draft him.
I think we're all dumb to pass him up. Yeah, that guy was good.
Yeah. And like Angus mentioned, the 50-40-90 club is a very elite club to join, and he's not a huge name to be able to join that club. So huge.
You're still undermining him by saying that he's not a huge name.
All right, Turbo,
what you got?
All right, you guys ready? So there's actually a lot of players that we have mentioned that before, like in the past 9 episodes. I was gonna sneeze, and I actually want to go away from that list. So I'm just going basically just on stat. And this guy, I happen to find him. He's actually, his average rank for the season is 73rd, but he's on 80% only. and there are a lot of players who is above him, their own, below him, their own, maybe 80 or maybe 90% for some reason. So this guy, I think he's definitely having a career year. He's a veteran. He's been having a pretty solid season. So let me break it down to you. So 50% field goal, 83% free throws with 1.63s a game. And then the big three stats are 16, 6, and 3 half. And then give you, almost 1 steal per game and 0.2 blocks at 1.5 turnovers. This guy's only owned 80% in the roster. And I think in a lot of leagues, he wasn't even drafted. And he's still, I think he should be, at least closer to the 85, 90 percentile. This is going to shock you. He's from Sacramento Kings. He's always on the trading block, or this year anyway, trade rumor. Harrison Barnes. So Harrison Barnes is a name that you won't really talk about when we talk about fantasy basketball, even in like real basketball, in real life basketball, but especially in fantasy basketball. But this year he's been killing it. Just by the stats that I've told you, like he is pretty much like another Tobias, but without, I would say maybe without the blocks, but he still has the steal. So, obviously he's not as good as Tobias, but by Angus just mentioning how, Brian was saying how he thinks Tobias should have been an all-star. I mean, Harrison Barnes is having a number as close as, pretty close to what Tobias was having. So I think he's my MVP of the season so far.
I think Harrison Barnes brings a very important veteran presence to the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings good roster 都係好多 young up and coming players 啦 ，De'Aaron Fox 啦 ，Halliburton 啦 ，Buddy Hield 啦，so 佢係 play 一個好 important role 啦。咁obviously 佢之前打 Golden State Warriors 都 play an important role in them winning a championship, right? So he has championship experience, championship pedigree. So agree with that pick.
Yeah, I like the Harrison Barnes pick. Very reliable and consistent. I mean, I think they both like missed a game here. They're not like Iron Man just because they're getting a bit older, but they like you said, like they're very. I don't want to say like Tanghua. What's
low
another way to
low
put it?
maintenance.
Like they're very low maintenance. They don't require too much. They're not like they don't cause big drama, and they help the team in whatever
consistent.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact: both Harrison Barnes and Tobias Harris are the same age.
Oh, what? Are you serious? I thought Harrison Barnes is like
older,
38.
Yeah.
They're actually both 30. 29 this year.
Young. Not even 30
fun
yet.
fact for you.
Harrison Barnes seems like he's been in the NBA forever.
Yeah.
All right. On to the next one.